Abu Dhabi, a perfect example of the awesome transformation of a poor desert emirate into one of the richest states in the world. The capital city of the largest of the United Arab Emirates is like something from the 1001 Nights. Today's inhabitants of Abu Dhabi are dynamic and cosmopolitan and proud of their cultural heritage. Each day the fishermen go out in their boats and early in the morning return with their catch. Their boats have changed with the times, as have the market halls in which the fish are sold. The variety of fish makes a wonderful display. As is the rule in many aspects of life here, only men work in the fish markets, while the women look after the home. The fish is closely examined prior to purchase and is efficiently prepared for sale. The ambience of the fish market is ideal for setting the scene for our next port of call. The beautiful Heritage Village is situated opposite the imposing skyline of Abu Dhabi, on an artificial island just off the coast, Wave Breaker Dam. In traditional small mud huts, various craftsmen demonstrate their skills to onlookers. Here, clay is worked and decorated, while a variety of leather goods and fine glassware is also on display. Wood is also worked here, and there's an interesting assortment of knives and daggers. The history of the city and surrounding area is well known. The coastal area gradually developed from inland settlements. The earliest traces of human civilization here date back to the Bronze Age. Abu Dhabi was founded due to a water spring that was discovered in 1761 during a gazelle hunt, thus its name of Father of the Gazelle. In 1793, the ruling Al Nahyan family moved from the Liwa oasis to the coast and to the shores of the Arabian Gulf. But more of this later. First, some tempting souvenirs. In 2004, when Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan succeeded his father, he proclaimed that Abu Dhabi would become a splendid holiday resort. And now his words have become reality. Despite all the changes that have been made here, Islam is still part of everyday life. Where 40 years ago a few simple huts stood amid the desert sand, today there are gardens, fountains, and huge skyscrapers with shining glass facades. More than 300 mosques highlight the religious faith that lives side by side with all the glamour and wealth of this modern city. Abu Dhabi is full of fascinating contrast. A mixture of Arab tradition and Western fashion, of Bedouin culture and the mobile phone, of camel and Maserati. However, back to history. The water spring subsequently became protected by the White Fortress of Ghazir al-Husn. It became the residence of the reigning Al Nahyan family. A small settlement gradually developed around the fortress, its inhabitants living in straw huts and Bedouin tents, and making their living from fishing and pearl diving. A sheikhdom was created, one that is now a Gulf state. A visit to the northern desert is a must, to the oasis town of Al Ain. Fort Jahili protects this green desert town that is located halfway between the east and west coasts. It borders the neighboring state of Oman. Saudi Arabia repeatedly occupied this oasis, until in 1974 the International Court in The Hague deprived it of all rights. Today, Oman and the United Arab Emirates share the 9-oasis village of the Buraimi Oasis that contains more than 200 springs and wells. In the Al Ain Museum, archaeological finds indicate that more than 2,000 years ago there was a settlement here, and since then the area has continued to be inhabited. Thanks to the abundant water supply in the oasis, permanent settlements originated and its inhabitants cultivated the land and bred cattle. This fertile area also became an important resting place for nomadic traders who followed the caravan route to Oman. This, along with the Liwa Oasis, was the birthplace of the Emirates. And at the end of the 19th century, the 18 historic forts that were built here became the residences of various sheikhs. The people here are proud of their ancient texts and books that are kept safe in glass cabinets. They record the culture of this region. The jewellery of bygone times is also exhibited. Indeed, jewellery also has a long tradition here. The women once wore large and heavy items of jewellery on long-sleeved clothing. The jewellery consisted mainly of gold. The burqa was common, and the painting of the hands with henna was a necessity for those Bedouin women who wanted to be fashionable. There are scenes of hunting and coffee rituals. And posing with frightening weapons. The creatures of the desert also have their own exhibition, including noble birds of prey. Both geography and the climate have always influenced the culture of the desert tribes. Life here was a constant struggle for food and water. Simple rowing boats with sails, primeval buildings, and wall paintings indicate a culture that dates back to prehistoric times. After a short journey, we reach the camel market on the edge of the town. The public camel souk of Al Ain is the largest of its kind and well known throughout the United Arab Emirates. The traders come from far and wide. Simple fences separate the enclosures in which the camels are secured day and night, waiting to be sold. They're tended to mainly by Pakistani handlers. The males are used as beasts of burden or killed for meat. The females are used for breeding and to provide milk, and the young are often used for the sport of camel racing. Although these ships of the desert no longer play a vital role in today's environment, they have always been closely associated with the life of the Bedouin. Before oil was discovered here, camel caravans transported firewood, coal, dates, and other agricultural products through the desert from Al Ain to Abu Dhabi. Without the camel, man would not have been able to survive here. These strong and hardy animals have always been the means by which the Bedouin have survived the hardships of the desert. The animals that have been sold are unceremoniously herded into lorries and then taken to their new home. A wide highway travels across the desert, back into the modern world, and into the fairy tale city of Abu Dhabi. Gleaming skyscrapers surround an ancient souk, the main market that stocks just about everything, and also makes repairs too. Colourful spices, coffee pots and utensils, perfume in glass bottles. The souk fascinates visitors with its exotic charm. Here, shopping is always popular. Ancient traditions blend into modernity, and home comforts mix with Arabian flair. The old souk has earned its right to exist alongside modern shopping malls. On the edge of the city, in the Bay of Al Batin, is Dhow Harbour, where these traditional boats continue to be built manually. Dhow is a collective term for various types of wooden boat in the Arab countries. They're still used for fishing and pearl diving. They've always been built in more or less the same way. Indian teak wood is still worked by hand, and almost no machinery is used. There are no formal construction diagrams. According to tradition, each section is drawn out with chalk and then cut and shaped accordingly. The Dhow is a highly successful sailing ship. Arab traders once sailed to Pakistan and Persia in these marvelous boats. Over the centuries, generations of shipbuilders have developed the characteristic Dhow shape. By contrast, we visit the Marina and Yacht Club. This modern yacht harbour is sheltered by the artificial breakwater peninsula that was constructed just off the main island. The local people once earned their living here from fishing and pearl diving until, in the 1930s, the economy collapsed. It was catastrophic. However, when the British discovered oil here, everything changed. New wealth came to this region and a huge city was born. A gigantic island-like protective dam was built and this modern yacht harbour became part of it. Oil introduced abundant luxury to the Orient, and in a single generation, the Bedouin changed their palm huts and camels for amazing villas and expensive cars. It's difficult to believe it now, but there were no proper roads or cars here until 1950, no doctors and no schools, and there was 100% illiteracy. But in 1966, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan came to power. Corniche Gardens lie between the Corniche, a 6-kilometre-long coastal avenue, and the city with a skyline dominated by skyscrapers. The Sheikh's plans for his city have been a triumphant success, and despite its many skyscrapers, Abu Dhabi looks almost like a garden city. Where quite recently camels walked through the desert sand and nomads erected their tents, today there's flowing water and pretty flowers. These modern miracles are due to a water desalination plant that was built here and that has since provided the area with a good supply of fresh water. Roads, houses and schools were built and a land allocation program was introduced. Everyone was given a house and the right to have their own business. Thus, there are many occasions when the local people honour their smart sheikh and also put on fine parades for their monarch. The newly erected mosque at the entrance to the city was built to commemorate the Prophet Muhammad, whose life serves as the template for the daily life and politics of today. However, one of Abu Dhabi's buildings surpasses all others, the legendary Emirates Palace, truly an hotel of the superlative. To further enhance the prestige of this tiny emirate, in 2001 construction of this outstanding building began. A mighty triumphal gate leads into an oriental world of fantasy. Those who created this building in the Emirates wanted more than just a luxury hotel. The Emirates Palace was also to be an important symbol. It not only serves as a hotel. Official guests of the monarchy and government officials from the various members of the Emirates are also accommodated here. No expense was spared for its construction. It was designed by the architects Wimberley, Allison, Tong and Gu. The cupola was built even taller than that of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Sheikh Zayed Al Nahyan does nothing on a small scale. Splendid furnishings and decor are also to be seen in each of the spacious and luxurious suites of this 7-star hotel. The cost of creating the Emirates Palace was enormous, but it is now the source of much well-earned prestige. This palace is the imposing counterpart of the Burj Al Arab, the remarkable 7-star hotel in neighboring Dubai. It's not difficult to understand how Abu Dhabi's Emirates Palace cost $3 billion to build, a record-breaking sum. The pool and bar plus several jacuzzis are an extremely civilized way in which to relax, and the hot and arid climate of the Gulf guarantees a healthy suntan. This spacious outdoor area was designed with Arabian design elements very much in mind. In a land that throughout the year is arid and scorching hot, the water features are a strong symbol of wealth and power. It's an Arabian dream come true. Following our glamorous visit to the exotic, we next visit the neighboring emirate of Dubai. Wadi driving on multi-terrain vehicles across the desert's gravel roads and into the rugged terrain of the Hijaz Mountains. The route leads high into the mountains. We travel past steep, strangely shaped rocks. Deep canyons alternate with undulating terrain. Mountain nomads use the remote landscape as pasture for their goats and sheep. Powerful erosion has created great fissures in the rock. We travel past several small communities, each with its own waterhole. Here, man has managed to survive in the severest of conditions. We now return to the desert. Our adventure in the dunes is about to begin. Traveling up and down the dunes in an all-terrain vehicle is quite a thrill. Dune riding is extremely popular with holidaymakers. The sport is only allowed in groups accompanied by an experienced driver. The vehicles are equipped with a special air filter that makes it possible for them to endure the harsh conditions. We travel up and down like a roller coaster. Fun is guaranteed. The drivers demonstrate their various skills. The dunes are conquered at high speed. When the landscape becomes flatter, we begin to travel as on a normal road. Every now and then, further small dunes appear. And next, we come across a road that appears from out of nowhere. Our final destination in this mountain and desert region is a camel farm. It is here that our experience of this wonderful region comes to an end. We will long remember our visit to this extraordinary city and its surroundings, Arabia Deluxe. 1,001 nights in all its glory. Almost overnight, the Emirates has been catapulted from the Middle Ages into the 21st century. Next to follow the oil boom is tourism. And no doubt, Abu Dhabi will make a fortune out of that too.